Luke Ofojebe, analyst at Vertiva, joins me to discuss these stories. Luke, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to join for you to be on the show today. Talk to us about your expectations for the meeting today. There's pressure on OPEC to ease output restrictions. We're seeing this massive rally, and analysts say that it appears that the rally still has legs to go further.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me here today. So speaking more on what to expect from the OPEC meeting today, I mean, clearly there is increasing pressure on OPEC to increase supply. So at the meeting today, we should expect to see a conclusion on how to increase supply going forward. However, there are a few concerns we need to address here. And number one on the list is the fact that during the pandemic last year, right, when we saw prices dropping to multi-year lows, quite a number of oil-producing countries decided to spend less on maintaining their oil fields. And we are facing the consequence of that decision now. So even though we understand that we are going to be seeing pressure on OPEC countries to increase supply, we do not expect to see a significant jump in output going forward, given the fact that quite a number of oil wells are actually underperforming at the moment.
Now, for Nigeria, Africa's top oil producers, Angola and Nigeria, we're seeing them struggling to boost output, even, meeting their quotas set by OPEC+. Plus, we understand that this is due to underinvestment and lingering maintenance issues. So obviously missing out big time on the rally that's ongoing at the moment. Talk to us about this in terms of, what we're doing. I know that the NNPC has reached out to OPEC to ease the quota so that Nigeria can, or to increase it rather, so that Nigeria can make up for lost production. What are your thoughts?
So even if you're looking at the current quota, right, which is around 1.4 million barrels per day, and vis-a-vis what Nigeria is producing currently, which is around 1.2 million barrels per day. So clearly, it's not even a thing of OPEC anymore. It's now a thing of the domestic challenges we have here in Nigeria. And you actually mentioned it earlier on. Like, one is inadequate infrastructure. I mean, infrastructure is actually aging. So we are seeing, slowing output from the infrastructure. Another one is investment being low. I mean, compared to what it was prior to now, like 3 years ago. Since the pandemic started last year, we've been seeing weak investments in the oil and gas sector. So as a result of that, we are not seeing, increasing output. So even if the quota remains at 1.4, or if OPEC decides to raise it to about 1.5, these domestic issues actually need to be addressed before we can start seeing the government being able to tap significant gain from the rise in oil prices.
Now, I know that the Petroleum Industry Act was meant to usher in or address the problem of investment, but, analysts have told us that, it would take some time for, us to begin to see traction. But does that mean that, in the meantime, is this going to be the country's fate, missing out on, still being held back by these issues? What are those things that we can do, immediate steps that we can take to help, solve the problem so that the country can take advantage of the rally?
Yeah, clearly, the Petroleum Industry Act has the positive of supporting oil investments going forward. But like you said, this is going to take a while. And we also need to factor in the fact that if you're looking at what's going on in advanced economies, right, they're already at this transition phase where they are moving away from fossil fuels to the use of renewables. And what that means is that we are going to see like a significant decline in oil demand in the long run, and that should impact oil investments going forward. So a number of oil-producing countries are aware of this, and that's why some of them are actually looking at positioning for the renewable space. So for here in the Nigerian market, yes, the PIS should help to support oil investments going forward, but we do not think that impact is going to be significant. Rather, what we think is might see significant investment inflows into the natural gas space, because if you're looking at developing economies, SSA and other emerging economies in Asia, right? So there is still that strong outlook for the use of gas. So we think investors will be more focused on channeling their funds into the natural gas space.